Hello, it's Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Hey, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube. Be sure to check out thechrisvossshow.com with all the great channels and different reviews we're doing on all the major phones out there in the marketplace. One of the phones we're going to be reviewing today is the AT&T Samsung Galaxy Note 3. AT&T with the fastest download and upload speeds. Thanks to them for sharing the phones with us. So, this is pretty freaking awesome. We're going to go ahead and give this phone a review. Now, we're going to bring you several different types of reviews in a second, and you'll be able to see all of them, how they work, and all that good stuff. Okay, so in this review, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing you the benchmarking apps. Now, one of the things that's come up with benchmarking apps on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 is that there's some cheating that's been going on, and actually in a lot of different Android phones there's been a little smidgen of cheating going on where they've actually adjusted the coding in the software to recognize certain apps, and once they recognize certain benchmarking apps, increase the speed of the processor, kind of jack it up or overclock it, if you will. So what we're going to do is present to you the benchmarks, but the thing that AnandTech found was that the benchmarks were fluffed by usually 0 to 5%, sometimes as high as 10%, depending upon the app. So we're going to show you these. You can adjust the figures by 5 to 10% per app. You'll hear us note that throughout the video. And we're just going to give this to you for informational purposes. You can decide which is right, wrong, or whether the numbers are even accurate. It's up to you. We'll provide this for entertainment purposes. Okay, so here we have the Geekbench 3 score, and you're welcome to lop off 5 or 10% if you want from the score according to the amzn.to website. I've seen scores all the way up to 3,000 on the multi-score test for this. So, you can take that into mind. Single core score, 935. Multi-core score, 2862. Now, where this is interesting is if you want to download the app at home on your current device and you just want to compare the devices and see how maybe your phone matches up and maybe compare these to other phones. Of course, we'll be doing in the future comparative versus side by side with about 20 other phones that are in the marketplace currently. So be sure to give us a like and subscribe to our channel for that. I don't usually worry about these individual scores. You're welcome to pause the video at any time if you really want to look at them and see them and all that good stuff. I usually don't worry about them, but some people like to see them, so we're going to go ahead and give them to you there. And there you have it. N2X took and discovered that there was fluffing going on to the benchmarking apps where basically they were upgrading the processors. So in their app, the N2 app, they have two different apps they've come out with. We're going to present both to you and let you decide which one is better. Now, the first app, the normal N2 benchmarking app that everyone has used in the past, came in with a score of 34,695. You can see some of the breakdowns of the integers and everything else, how they took and broke down. Now, what's interesting is they have recently come out with a new app, and the new app takes and is supposed to design to fight the fluffing. It's called the N2X Benchmark. And this is designed to, I guess, avoid the code or whatever that will take and prevent fraud and cheating away from benchmarking, as you can see here. And I think it's silly they do this. I'm not talking about N2, of course, that companies are doing this. So, the score that came in is 3,841. You can see the difference here in the details of the score in the non-cheating mode. So pretty interesting. I'm not sure how they figure all this stuff out, but I guess there's people smarter than I that do it. So you can compare the two numbers if you want and kind of get an idea as to what the difference is between these two, between the non-cheating benchmarks and the cheating benchmarks. Fun is fun, huh? Okay, so here we have the 3D Mark app. This is the benchmarking app on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. We have score 18,627, so that's what we came in at. And of course, we're using the 4.3 OS. You can see here all that good stuff, test version 1.2. And that's the score that we're taking and getting at this time on it. So you can see the breakdown of the individual scores. The graphics scores came in at 19,980. Physics scores came in at 15,058. Graphics test came in at 104 frames per second. Graphics test 2 came in at 74.6 frames per second. Physics test 48.8 frames per second. Demo 0 frames per second. and you can see, of course, the date and how it did. And you can see here it's outpacing the Sony Xperia Z1 and Z1 Ultra. Now, keep in mind, you probably need to knock 5 or 10% off the top of that figure based upon some of the fluffing that's going on with the OSs and the coding that they're building into these. So take that for what it's worth. Okay, so here we have the benchmark and tuning app. Specifically, the score came in at 39,969. Like I say, if you want, you could probably lop 5 or 10% off the top of that to adjust for the scores and all that good stuff. You can see how it plays against the HTC One S, the Samsung GT19300. I can't remember which one that is. The Asus Transformer Prime, the HTC One X. Definitely a monster score. This is what we call the billion counter test, and it's from the billion counter app. Basically, it counts how fast the device can count to 1 billion. I'm not sure that this is listed in the benchmarking schematics that they had to cheat with the processor. So this is kind of an interesting figure here. It is super fast, 10.103 seconds. I don't think I've seen a phone that's been faster than that that we've reviewed as of this point in time. Pretty freaking amazing, huh? Here you can see the CF Bench scores. We're using CF Bench Pro version 1.3 in this, so keep that in mind. We've done a full benchmark run on this, and you can see here the model we're using, the name, all that sort of good stuff, build release, megahertz, native MIPS, all that sort of good stuff. I don't usually worry about these individual scores. I'm usually looking at these native, Java, and overall scores. They're important to me. Overall score is 34,403. You can see how the device comparatively fit against the S3, 1X, all that sort of good stuff. And of course, like I said, if you want, you can take 5 to 10% off the top of these scores. Here we have the GFX Bench 2.7.2 score. We know this was targeted as a increased processor flagrancy, or whatever you want to call it, adjustment of the processor to make it run better. You can see here the scores came in on the off-screen test, 1461 frames at 26 frames per second, and on-screen 1467 frames at 26 frames per second. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're running the KFS Benchmark test app, and this will give us some frames per second runs, of course, and all that good stuff. So it looks like we got across all the scores an overall score of 41.438 in the overall score. Okay, so here we have the results on the Passmark performance test. You can see that our system came in at 4502, and we got a CPU test of 15,888, disk test 30,714, memory test 4377, 2D graphics test 3846, and 3D graphics test 1263. Just them how you want. Okay, so here we're pulling the Quadrant Standard test, and as you can see here, it came in with an overall score of 19,709. And down below here, you can see we came in, the total was 19,709. CPU is 71,809. Memory, 16,281. IO, 7659. 2D, 505. And 3D, 2290. This here is the SQL Lite performance app from RL Benchmark, and basically it runs through insert transaction, indexes, strings, that sort of stuff. And you can see the overall scores here, how they played out. And in essence, we have an overall score of 12,733. Okay, so here we have the Velamo scores. The Velamo HTML5 score came in at 2889. We do know that Velamo is targeted by the benchmarking tweaks, let's call them. The metal came in at 1232 that you can take and see on the device and all that good stuff. Okay, folks, so there you have it. Give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube. The benchmarking for the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. So pretty cool here, and it's a beautiful phone. I love it. I'm using it pretty much all the time now, so that pretty much tells you what I think of it. And I love the S4, but there's a lot of really cool features here on the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. One of the things I really love is the 4K video. So be sure to stay tuned for the next video we'll be uploading. We'll be doing much more reviews and versus comparisons with this phone. Be sure to check out our good friends at AT&T.com with the fastest download and upload speeds. Thanks again for sharing the phones with us.